In the beginning, really thank you guys. We got approx 1200 subscribers in just 2 tutorials. It's a lot to me. In this video, I am recreating this scene and trying to show you how you can create this composition like MagnetSmedia and Nextgentennis. This is the part 2 of that video, and don't worry, you can watch this at first. So in the first part of this video, we have created a graph composition, and now we have to merge the graph composition and the world map together. So we have to make a main composition where we can merge it. After creating the main composition, create another composition by pressing this button. Always remember that organizing and renaming the assets properly is most important in complex projects, neither it will be messed up. I always name the file with hashtag and the number as their priority. Okay, now import the PNG in the world map composition. It could be any map, but it should be PNG. Refresh with caps lock if need and resize it. Now we are converting this PNG to this complex and beautiful thing. But before that, there is 3 different colors, so we have to recreate that first. So I renamed the PNG to world map and duplicate that layer, and with the pen tool I separated each continent: Asia, America and Africa. So duplicate the PNGs and mask out the different continent in each map. And by mistake, if you disconnect with the mask path like this, then press Ctrl Z and click the last point you have made in the mask and continue masking. Now continents are separated and you're left with 3 copies of different continents and 1 full map. And one more thing, check this out guys. You can get raw videos for practicing from my shop at 0 rupees. I mean, it's free for limited time. And also you can buy 500 plus fully customizable YouTube thumbnail pack. It's all PSD file and you can buy it in just 99 rupees. But if you apply this code Editx 50 off, you can buy it in just 49 rupees. This is the most awesome deal that I am giving to launch my website. Okay, now get back to the video. Now add the tint effect to each continent and set the color, or you can use the fill effect. It's up to your choice. If you are using tint effect, then you have to map black and white to the same color to get the result. Now select the 3 separated continents and pre-compose them and rename it colored map. Now we will create this transition effect. But before that, I placed some mark to better understand from where the animation will start and where it will be slowed down and where it will stop. Press Ctrl Space for the effects console and type liner wipe and add the effect to the color map composition. Look, now the effect is wiping the map in horizontal, but we have to make it vertical, so wipe angle should be 0. And I think you didn't notice that I have already turned on the stopwatch icon for keyframing in the transition completion button. Okay, now by following the markers or as per your choice, animate the transition completion to complete the transition of the colored map. Hey, it's looking real good. Press U to reveal the keyframes and F9 for activating Bezier path, or you can use Mr. House's keyframe Wingman. And now for the line, select the pen tool and draw a stroke by pressing Shift to the upper side of the map. If you press the Shift, then the line will be straight. Press P for the position and activate the stopwatch icon. Now move 3 to 4 frames forward and align the stroke with this liner wipe effect. And repeat the process till you cover the full map. Be careful, move only few frames each time, neither it will not align properly. And as you turn on the keyframe option previously, your every move is memorizing in the timeline. And add a in animation to the stroke. So animating the stroke is quite simple. Add a trim path to the stroke. Set the end value to 50%. So your stroke is starting from the middle, and now set the start value to 50% and turn on the stopwatch icon because we have to animate the start value. Now move few frames forward and set the start value to 0, and now your stroke is animated from middle to the beginning. You can turn on the easy ease on the keyframes and adjust the graph to V shape to give it a smooth motion. I renamed that stroke layer to line left and duplicated it and renamed that version to line right. Now select the right layer and flip it horizontally. After that, select both layers and pre-compose them. Now select the colored map layer and add a deep glow to that. And if you don't have hand in a deep glow, you can add built-in glow also. And I have added a text in the left corner because I have to add the text and follow the text with the stroke. And animate the position like this. Now, if we want to create a text reveal like this, we have to use a matte and slider control. Okay, so for that, create a null object and you can trim it to the size of text layer. Now select the null and add a slider control effect to the layer. Now alt click to the source text and drag the pick whip to the slider controller. And then this script will appear in the timeline. And now type plus and between the semicolon type %sign. If you do so, then a %sign will appear after the number. You can type anything between the semicolons. Now it's time to animate the number from 0 to 1.17%. Animate the number by pressing stopwatch icon in the slider control. Here the catch is, in this number we need only 2 decimal numbers after 1.17. But here you can see we are left with infinite decimals. To fix it, just type this line before the plus icon in the expression panel. .value to fixed open parenthesis to close parenthesis. Number in between the parentheses will decide how much decimal numbers we'll add after the 1. And simply for the matte effect, turn on the matte option in the text layer and it will be matte like this. And you can add a drop shadow effect to it and increase the opacity and adjust it. Can you feel the main map is kind of flat, so we have to make it dynamic. So add a grunge texture to the composition and select the map PNG and turn on the matte option. Go to the grunge texture and select the PNG map for matte. Now it's not looking so flat. Now add a curve and tint effect and then adjust it in your way. After some adjustment, my map is looking like this. Quite simple. Did you remember? In the beginning we have created a main composition for assembling all the things named #2 main render. Hey, now it's time to drag the graph composition here. So drag it here and drag also the map composition where you want to transition from graph to world animation. Now it's left to animate like this, but we will do this later cause we missed out some important things. So get back to the world map composition and pre-compose the sections for a good neat and clean look. Because we have to add a glass effect in here. Basically I'm separating the colored map and the animations in one composition and the other thing in another composition. Okay, now create a new composition by clicking here in the project panel. Name it glass screen and add a black solid to the composition. Okay, now here the things will become a bit of interesting and creative. To create the glass effect, we have to create a glass texture first. So create a new composition and name it texture screen. Drag a fingerprint screen texture to the texture screen composition. Now select the rectangle tool and make the stroke to none and fill to solid. And make the fill color to white and draw a rectangle. If you press shift, then it will be a square. Now align it to the middle. Select the shape layer and rename it as glass and turn on the adjustment layer converter. Now it's magically converted into an adjustment layer. Now add a first box blur into it, and if you can't see any preview, then drag any footage below that layer. Black solid is not doing anything right now, so just delete it. Now you can see the preview of your effects applied in that adjustment layer. So crank up the blur radius and add a compound blur effect. And select the texture screen composition as a blur texture. Crank up the maximum blur amount. But if the texture is not visible in the screen, then go to the texture screen composition and add a brightness and contrast effect to the screen texture and make it as contrasty as possible. And I also added a tint to get rid of the blue shade. The texture is a little bit of zoomed in, so we have to fix it. So click this lock icon to lock the composition and drag the texture screen to the right side of the panel. Now scale down the main texture till it fits with the preview of left output. Now it's almost looking like a glass sheet. Now you can reset the previews and unlock this composition. After that you can play with the value of compound blur to get a perfect look as your niche. Now go to the main project menu and drag the glass screen composition to the main render composition. If you see the preview like this, then you have to just disable the background video from glass texture composition. If you don't see any effect here, then press the collapse transformation button and then it will appear. Okay, now go back to the glass screen composition and animate the rectangle named as glass. Apply animation only in scale parameter. Now duplicate the glass layer and make the fill to none and the stroke to gradient. Delete both the blur effect from the new layer and turn off the adjustment modifier. So now it's a normal layer. Select the first copy of the glass and add a CC glass effect. click the surface option and set the second glass layer as a bump map. And adjust the height, softness and the displacement for the perfect glass border and pre-compose both layers. I named it glass. Let's create the text in the middle. Okay, type the number and create a null object and add a slider control there. Then alt click the source text and link it with the slider controller and add two magic expressions that I mentioned earlier. One for the fixing decimals and one for attaching the M after the number. Now you can animate the numbers by animating the slider value by using keyframe, and also animate the size of the text by animating the scale. And to align the text you can use the align shortcuts. And you can pre-compose both layers to make it a clean project. In the text I have added a drop shadow and set the shadow color to white to get this look. But hey, you can always play with the blur effect to get a perfect glassy look. Okay, now to make it a bit more extraordinary, we can add a CC light sweep effect to it. You can set the direction, you can set the center point, you can set width, sweep intensity, light colors, everything. And press this stopwatch icon to animate any value. After setting up all the things, my light sweep animation is looking like this. Yours can be different. In that main render composition, animate the position of the graph and the map composition to reveal it like this. Okay, now we are going to create this infographic. Once again, create a new composition. I am naming it header big bar and making it 10 seconds long. Now select the rectangle shape tool and make the shape layer to fill and draw a rectangle in the composition. After that, double click to the anchor point toolbar to set the anchor point in dead center. Then choose the align tool to reposition it in the center of composition. Now change the color of the bar. If you can't see the color menu, then you have to press the pen tool. Okay, now we have to copy the shape layer 3 times. Rename the layer like this: orange, blue and matte. Change the matte color to the white, leave the orange layer to orange and make the blue layer to blue. Now drag the images of the players you want to keep in the infographics and pre-compose by their own bar. I mean, if you want to show the lady in the orange bar, then pre-compose them both, and if you want to show the boy in the blue bar, then pre-compose the boy and the blue bar. Now go to the orange pre-compose and turn on the track matte in the PNG image. If you turn on the track matte, then this image will only visible on the orange bar. After that, you can right click, press new and text, and then you can add some text and animate it as I showed earlier. Here I am changing position of the text and adding some slider value animation as I showed before. So something like this. You have to just press some alt click in the stopwatch and link with the slider value and then animate it, and add dot value dot to fixed expression here to control the decimals. After finishing all of this, the orange bar will look like this. Then I am repeating the same process in the blue bar also. Here, to get rid of the white background, I am using color range effect, and after that I have repeated all the process of the orange bar. After completing the setup, we have to get back to the header big bar main composition and turn on the track matte option for matte layer and set that matte layer as the reference for the both layer. Now it's done, matte setted properly. And now for extra customization, I'm going to add a animated stroke. For that, turn off the fill layer and turn on the stroke layer and make the stroke size maybe 2 or 3 or maybe 4, something like this, and draw a line. Okay, now the main steps are completed. Now we have to just turn on the keyframing and animate the bars as you need. This is really simple, guys. But I know there are few creators who don't really know how to edit in After Effects, so I'm going to make a beginner tutorial, beginner guide for them. But yeah, that video will be highly detailed and highly understandable. Okay, move the orange bar on the left by animating like this, and after that we have to animate that white line. This is also so simple. You just have to turn on the keyframing option on the position and adjust the position of the line in every 5 frames or so. And after that, set the infographic sliding down animation by animating the position of both layers. Animate the infographic and the map layer. And you can add a deep glow or normal glow effect to it. But in this infographics, normal glow will work better. Just add a normal glow effect to it and adjust glow threshold and intensity and then crunch up the glow radius. That will work better in that scenario. Okay, now it's time for the particle system. Add a solid for the system and apply CC particle system in it. Solo the layer for better visibility. Lower down the birth rate to 0.2. Set the longevity at least 4. Then go to the producer and set the birth point. Select the shaded sphere in particle type. Change the particle color if you need. Then go to the physics and set the animation type to direction. And now do some experiment with the settings. I am leaving the screenshot of my settings in the screen so you can replicate it, or you can adjust it in your way. So after finishing all the thing, our final composition is ready. Okay, if you wanna highlight any text, then you can use stroke and resize it and recolor it and use a trim path to animate it. And if you wanna get a dark deep shadow like this, then you can use Shadow Studio 3, or you can disable it and use the drop shadow. Duplicate it multiple times and increase the distance of each copy by 5 to 10 pixels. Look how easy it is to get a dark, deep, bold look. Okay guys, after such a hard work, our video is ready, but I know there are few people who didn't understand that tutorial because I'm showing the steps too quickly for a beginner. I know it's a bit of annoying for the people who are new to After Effects and didn't relate with the effects and all the things. So as I said earlier, I'm going to create a beginner tutorial for them. So subscribe the channel for get notified, and let's look the final copy of the composition that we have created.
On fans' participation and search trends, tennis appears to be the most popular non-team sport in the world and the 4th most popular sport globally. As of 2019, approximately 1.17% of the world's population play tennis, translating to 87 million people globally, with about 47% of the players female and the remaining percentage male.
Okay, let's goodbye for now and see you soon in another project another time. Have a good day. Bye.